Hello and welcome back to the Honor Respect and to another edition of NXT Out of 10. And yeah, it's a very big episode of NXT today. All focus was on titles this week. 3 matches determined future title shots, and 1 was the North American Championship. So yeah, a lot going on. And we started things off with a video package title show. Ava was showing Tony Securities keep an eye on Tony D. The first match of the night saw the Fleur Makers NXT debut challenging Paige for the men's North American title. The French luchador showed off his speed and agility early, taking Paige down with a couple of unique moves. All Ego stopped him in his tracks with a backbreaker across the top turnbuckle, followed by a big boot to send him to the floor. Well, we would prefer title matches to serve as main events. WWE was smart to open this because it brought the right energy. The Fleur made a great debut in his match, and Paige was a perfect choice as veteran. The guy's 26, so he's only just scratching the surface of what he's going to be capable of. This felt like it could go either way, and All Ego was able to retain thanks to a handful of the tights. But the Fleur, you definitely feel will get momentum, and hopefully the feud keeps on going. So I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Before we got Josh Briggs versus Shalila Hill in a qualifying match. They fought for control until Briggs took the upper hand with some clubbing blows to the back. He had the size advantage, so Hill was unable to go for the punch with him. They battled for a break and swapped control a few times, but Briggs definitely had the upper hand more often than not. This was one of those matches where it didn't have any bad moments or spots, but it also didn't have anything to make it stand out. It didn't feel like there was much urgency, as there should be, as much to put the winner in the title hunt. It looked like Briggs was going to win a big chokestand, but Hill kicked out at the last second, and Newcomer was able to get a neck breaker to score the win. As soon as the match was over, Tony D laid out both men, obviously continuing that strategy, and a good win for Hill as well. So yeah, overall it wasn't bad. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Moving on then to the next match, which was Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes taking on Connors and Dixon. Well, not their first appearance. This is Vanity Project's first official match in NXT, so a lot of pressure on them. All 4 guys are young and hungry, so it's an energetic match with some risky spots. Dixon and Baylor were standouts to their performances, but full forwards did some good work. Swipe right rear will score the victory over Chasey. After the match, Ava called the cops on Tony D. But yeah, for the match alone, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on then, Keon Harville from NSG was forced to a backstage interview, but he walked off before answering any questions. It would have been hilarious if he just said, "I'm here so I don't get fined." Up next was Jada Parker coming to the ring to give a promo. The crowd cheered heavily during her entrance, and you could tell the love that she got. She talked about returning from injury, needing to let her words speak for herself. She spoke with emotion and enthusiasm about wanting to prove her doubters wrong while continuing to be true to herself. The lights dropped and Blake Monroe interrupted. They talked some trash to each other. Parker's promo was strong, and yeah, her feud with Monet could be a lot of fun. So yeah, fan of this. Before we got Legacy and Knight having both moved from Evolve to NXT, and they were thrown into the final qualifying match. You could tell there was respect between these two, and they look like tag partners due to having similar colour gears. Much like Chase and Swipe Right, these are young performers who are looking to make a big impression in their early runs, so they put in some hard work to make it entertaining. Both men hit some big spots from the top. Crowd were chanting this is awesome. Knight went to the well one too many times, and Legacy took advantage of a twisting suplex for a pin and win. Once again, Tony D showed up and took the competitors out. Ava came out with some fake cops who had no badges, but Tony allowed himself to be handcuffed, which, yeah, fair enough. Interesting end, and overall I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Before we then got the main event, a 3-way tag match, Renz, Sinclair and Kendall Gray versus Zaria and Sol versus Henley and Reed, with the winners earning a shot at the Knockouts tag titles. Rooker, Gray and Reed started with an exchange of pin combinations, but nobody could get the 3 count. Zaria tags in and immediately clotheslined both opponents. This match had a lot of moving parts and it led to some sloppy moments, but the majority of the action was good. Rooker and Gray were standouts, but all 6 women did solid work. JC Jane got involved and took out Gray at ringside. Zaria and Rooker were able to get a victory, but not without a little friction along the way. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And overall this week gets a 6 out of 10 for me. It's an eventful show. I mean, we saw 2 guys qualify. Tony D was arrested, a few Evolved talents having their first matches, and a few good performances as well. I quite like a lot of what we saw. The main focus of the show is setting up future matches. Don't feel like we got anything too worthy, but it did a good job balancing priorities, I suppose. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.